I already know. I was 17 when my life quietly cracked open and rearranged itself in 3 simple words. Words so soft they barely disturbed the air, yet powerful enough to shift the ground beneath me. I already know, my mother said. It was early, one of those hazy mornings when the house feels suspended between dreams and waking. The curtains were still closed, but I could see the faint glow of dawn sneaking around their edges. I opened my eyes expecting the familiar view. My ceiling, my posters, maybe the sound of birds in the maples outside. Instead, I saw her sitting at the foot of my bed, hands folded neatly in her lap, eyes steady and calm. No accusation, no fear, just presence. But before that morning arrived, there was Maple Street. Our house sat halfway down the block, tucked beneath the branches of the trees that gave the street its name. In the fall, the leaves burned with impossible shades of red and gold, turning every walk to school into a parade of colour. It was the kind of neighbourhood where bikes lay forgotten on front lawns, and everyone knew which mailbox belonged to which family. Where Mrs. Henderson's cat caused more drama than any of the humans. Inside our house, life had a steady rhythm. Breakfast together at the kitchen table, homework spread across the counter while my mother stirred something fragrant on the stove. Evenings spent watching the news or a favourite show, my mother's gentle running commentary filling the spaces between commercials. My mother was the quiet heartbeat of that world. She packed extra sandwiches, just in case. She noticed when I'd had a bad day before I even opened the door. She made ordinary moments feel important. Under her care, life felt safe, predictable, comfortable, almost boring in the way only something precious can be. I was a good kid. Teachers liked me. Parents trusted me. Friends said I was funny without trying. I played my part so well that even I believed the script. But deep down, something restless stirred, something softer, something I didn't yet have words for. Then Sarah arrived. The Hendersons, our quiet elderly neighbours, sold their house to be closer to their grandchildren. We all expected another mild-mannered family to move in. Instead, a moving truck rolled up one bright Saturday morning, followed by a car bursting with life. Doors slammed. Laughter spilled into the street. Voices carried across the yard, not angry but alive, vibrant, unafraid to take up space. And then I saw her. Sarah. Dark hair that caught the sunlight like strands of ink. A grin that looked like it knew every secret worth knowing. She was about my age, maybe a little younger, but she moved with a confidence I couldn't name. Within hours, our mothers were leaning over the backyard fence, chatting like old friends. Within days, they were trading coffee, borrowing sugar, and weaving the kind of friendship that suburban neighbourhoods are built on. And naturally, inevitably, Sarah and I were thrown together. "This is Kelvin," my mother said during one of those fence-side conversations. "He's your age." "I'm sure you two will get along." "Great." Sarah gave me a slow, appraising smile. "Oh, we definitely will," she said, mischief curling in her voice. Something in my chest shifted. I didn't know it yet, but my carefully controlled life was about to become far less quiet. Sarah lived as though the world was meant to be tasted, questioned, explored. She challenged every routine. Where I clung to rules, she bent them until they nearly snapped. Where I worried about appearances, she dove headfirst into experience. "Come on, don't be such a chicken," she'd laugh whenever I hesitated. It became her catchphrase. Sometimes it was about climbing a tree or trying a new snack from the corner store. Other times it was about something bigger, asking questions we weren't supposed to ask, imagining futures bigger than our small town. With Sarah, even the most ordinary afternoons felt charged, like we were the stars of some low-budget but perfectly thrilling coming-of-age movie. It started small, the awakening she sparked in me. Little shifts I barely noticed at first. When we passed shop windows, my eyes lingered on fabrics and colours that had never interested me before. Silk scarves shimmering in sunlight, necklaces that glowed like tiny constellations. the bold shine of lipstick arranged in neat rows. At home, I caught myself watching my mother's routines differently, how she chose colours that harmonised without effort, how she applied lipstick with quiet precision, how she folded laundry so the textures lined up just right. These weren't conscious thoughts, just sensations, like discovering a new spectrum of colour that had always existed but remained invisible until now. One lazy Saturday afternoon, Sarah and I were supposed to be working on a history project in her room. Her room was a riot of personality. Scarves draped over lamps, jewellery scattered like spilled starlight, posters layered so thick they formed a second wallpaper. She gave me that look, the one that meant she was about to propose something outrageous. "Let's do a makeover," she announced, already pulling clothes from her closet. My protest died in my throat when she held up a dress the colour of deep wine. The fabric shimmered as it caught the light. "Just for fun," she said, grinning. "Nobody has to know." "Come on, don't be a chicken." I hesitated, heart pounding. This wasn't climbing a tree or sneaking candy. This was something deeper, something that felt like stepping off a cliff. But Sarah's eyes held nothing but excitement and trust. And so I said, yes. The first thing I noticed was the softness. Everything I'd ever worn, jeans, collared shirts, stiff sneakers, felt rough by comparison. The dress slipped over my head like water and settled against my skin like it belonged there. When I turned toward the mirror, the breath left my lungs. I didn't see a stranger. I saw myself. Not a different person, but a truer one. Someone who had been waiting in the quiet corners of my heart for years. Sarah clapped her hands in delight. "The colour is perfect on you," she exclaimed, already reaching for makeup. To her, it was a game. To me, it was revelation. Each swipe of colour, each new texture, felt like uncovering a secret language I had always known, but never spoken. Every glance in the mirror was a tiny explosion of recognition. That night, alone in my room, I replayed every moment until the memories glowed like embers. I told myself it was just a one-time thing, a funny story for the future. But deep down, I knew. Something had shifted, and there was no going back. I thought I was careful. I thought my secret was safe. But love sees what we think we've hidden. Which brings me back to that morning. The air was heavy with the hush of early dawn. My mother sat at the foot of my bed, perfectly still, perfectly present. "I already know," she said, 3 words that divided my life into before and after. Panic flared. How could she know? Had Sarah told her? Had I left some trace behind? Or had my mother simply always seen me? The silence stretched until I finally met her eyes. What I found there undid me. No anger, no disappointment, just love. Patient, steady, unwavering love. "How long?" I whispered. "Long enough," she said. "Long enough to know that you are still my child. Still the person I love most. Still exactly who you are meant to be." There was no dramatic confrontation, no tearful confession, just quiet acceptance. In the days and weeks that followed, her love revealed itself in small, powerful gestures. The first time I wore something softer at home and she simply smiled. The way she began leaving magazines open to pages she thought might interest me. Stories she shared about her own journey of learning who she was. She never demanded explanations I wasn't ready to give. She simply created space, safe, patient, and wide enough for me to grow into myself. There were still hard days, moments when the world felt too sharp, when expectations pressed against my skin like thorns. But now I wasn't carrying it alone. I had a witness, a partner, someone who saw me completely and loved me anyway. And that changes everything. I'm older now, far from Maple Street and that quiet bedroom morning. Life is bigger, messier, more real. Sometimes I wish I could have come out entirely on my own terms, but maybe it had to happen this way. Sometimes love arrives before we're ready. Sometimes it whispers the truth we're too afraid to speak ourselves. If you're holding a secret close to your chest, hear me. You are already seen. You are already known. You are already enough. And maybe, just maybe, someone who loves you is waiting to say the words that will change everything. I already know.